Hey everybody! Today I'm going to talk to you all about the Maze Runner trilogy. I have some mixed feelings about this. I really wanted to like the series, and I did enjoy the first book to an extent. I thought it was pretty decent, but it just kind of went downhill after that. So the story follows Thomas. He comes up in this box to this world called the Glade. There's 40 other teenage boys there. All of their memories have been wiped. They don't know anything except their first names. And they all have different jobs to help them survive, and the box delivers supplies to them every week and a new person every month. Surrounding them is this giant maze. They don't know why they're there, but they assume it's to escape from the maze. They don't know why. So one of the jobs is being a runner, and the runners run through the maze, and they draw their section of the maze every day because it changes, so they've never been able to find their way out. And there just doesn't seem to be an exit. So this has been going on for 2 years before Thomas got there. Thomas basically serves the role of the chosen one who realizes things that other people probably should have realized but didn't think of for some reason. I was very intrigued by the plot because everyone's memories were wiped. You were discovering all the things along with them, why they were in the maze, who put them there, and it was very dramatic and it kept me interested in reading, and I liked that. I really wish there had been better characterization. It's third person, but you're really only in Thomas's head, and he has a very repetitive voice. He repeats a lot of the same thoughts, and I just didn't really feel very attached to him as a character. It seemed kind of forced of him being the hero, but some of his reactions didn't seem natural. At one point, he's been there for 2 days, and he risks his life to save some kid, and he knows that the chances of them living are 0. And he's just met this kid, and everyone's like, oh, he's a big hero now, and that just seemed a very unnatural reaction to me. I liked a few characters a little bit. I liked Chuck, Teresa, and Minho, but we didn't get to know them well enough. The first book had some character development, but not a ton, because their memories have been wiped, they don't know anything. And then the second book happened. So in the second book, you know a lot more about the origins of the maze and why they're there. So I expected there to be way more developments with characters, and I was looking forward to that, and there just wasn't. There was actually even more actions just shouting, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that, and there's no time for character development. That was disappointing. I don't know, something that bothered me a lot with the second book was that the events in the Maze Runner took place in a week. So Thomas has only known these people for a week. So in the second book, when they're doing all this running from all this danger, some people die, but Thomas doesn't know their names, so he doesn't care. There's just a chapter of him being like, oh, someone died next to me, but whatever, I keep going, and 10 kids died, but luckily it wasn't any of the people I knew the names of. And he's like, oh, I kind of feel bad, but whatever, I don't know their names. And it's just okay, if I was with a group of 40 people and we were in life or death scenarios, I would at least ask them their names. I wouldn't just be ignorant and only talk to the 5 people I met on my first day. That's not something I would do. He acts like he cares so much about the 5 people he knows the names of, and their relationships seem very fabricated, but he doesn't really care about any of the other kids he doesn't know the names of. And that bothers me a lot. He's supposed to be this hero guy, but he's really not. Something happens in the second book where a bunch of new characters get introduced, and you think, oh great, they're another piece of the puzzle. Thomas will get to know them. I was personally very curious about the girls and their stories. He learns 2 of their names, he never talks to them again. For how long the book was, I feel like more character development could have happened. The first 100 pages of Game of Thrones, do you know how many characters are introduced? And do you know how many I know all of their names, and I know something about all of them. If there's a minor character that isn't really important, you can just throw in a few sentences about them so people know who they are. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. I'm making the second book sound a little worse than it was. It wasn't that bad. Those were some grievances I had with it. The third book, though, I did not enjoy that one at all, really. Part of the reason was I listened to it on audiobook, and that made it worse. That made me really realize how repetitive some of the writing was. Thomas tends to have the same thought over and over and over again throughout the books. He repeated the phrase, "after all we've been through, da-da-da-da-da," so many times it was a little ridiculous. Made me not really be very sympathetic about the situation because it was so repetitive and it just made me annoyed. And then there wasn't very good characterization still. I didn't care about the characters as much as I wanted to. And when bad things happened to them, I was just kind of like, I don't even really know this person at all. The voices, too, were also weird. His Scottish accent for Newt was not the best, and it was weird and distracting. And the few female characters that are mentioned in the books are very strong, I feel like, but the narrator was male, and he gave them all very soft, quiet, shy voices and demeanors, and they all sounded the same. Like with Brenda, when I read her, she seemed to me more like she has a plan, she knows what she's doing, and she'll like tell you what to do, no questions asked, but she's still a nice, caring person, but she is very strong. And the narrator gave her the voice like, "Oh, Thomas, I think we should do this. Yeah. Thomas, let me whisper shyly to you." And, really wish, like, Minho or Teresa or Brenda had a bigger role, because I would have rather had them be the leader and telling everyone what to do than Thomas, because Thomas wasn't that interesting, quite frankly. And everyone was like, "Oh, he's so special," but I didn't think so. Sorry. The events of the third book, I feel like there was a lot more room with it for character development. It still didn't happen. The whole book felt a little redundant. Like, I didn't see the point of a lot of the events that happened. Usually with writing a book, you don't want there to be any unnecessary parts. You cut out everything that is not necessary to the plot or character development. Events that took place I didn't feel were very necessary, especially with the ending. I did not like the ending of the series. I don't know what's up with people writing trilogies with with unsatisfactory endings, but it seems to be a common theme nowadays. Hunger Games. Divergent. The way the ending was, I was like, what was the point of everything? I feel like this could have just happened a while ago. Why did they have to go through all this for this outcome? I just wasn't really feeling it. It felt kind of like he wrote himself into a corner and it was just like, oh, here's your ending. It wasn't very exciting either. Do I recommend this series or not? I think some people could enjoy it a lot. There are a lot of people who do like it a lot, and I can understand why. Just the repetitiveness and lack of character development really just got me in the end. I do recommend the first two books, definitely. Maybe if I read the third one, not an audiobook, I would have liked it more. If this story sounds like your cup of tea and what you're interested in, sure, I would definitely say read it. But if you are easily annoyed by writing that isn't the best, then I would this probably isn't for you. And that has been my review of the Maze Runner trilogy. Tell me in the comments below if you loved it, hated it, something in between. Follow me on Goodreads if you want to see more of what I think about the books, what books I'm reading currently, what I'm thinking about them as I read them. And I will see you guys all in my next video. Bye!